everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Casey, where we talk about market strategies, market conditions, and oh, what a spring it's been. Record-breaking spring. Really, I've never seen anything like this, and it's taught so many lessons, so many good things about it, so many bad things about it. So let's talk about some of the best and the worst of what's going on in this year's spring market. First of all, since the pandemic, there's been a decline of inventory. As the inventory has gone down, people have been unable to move up. Prices have gone up, interest rates have gone up. The affordability is really at an all-time low, what you can afford, right? So it's been strenuous through 2024. This year, interest rates, came down a little bit, and everybody started putting their houses back on the market. So the good thing about this spring that I found is we would sit down with sellers and they would say, I want to buy a new house, I want to move up, but I don't want to sell my old house until I find a new house. And then for the last 4 years, we'd be like, we'll never see you again because it's almost impossible to find a house to move up. There's just no inventory. But this year, success after success after success after success. Colby and Morgan are finding houses. Kelly's finding houses. Before you know it, everybody's finding their move-up home, and they're able to actually negotiate contracts contingent on them selling their old homes. We haven't been able to do this in a long, long time. So I would say that the big story of 2025 is that people are actually able to move up again. Now, we started the year by saying, perfect time to move up. Let's target people that want to do that. And sure enough, they have materialized and they've been able to get their homes. That is one of the best things that have happened. Now, here's some of the worst things that have happened. So because of low inventory, there's really high demand for houses, and you don't see a lot of home inspections. There aren't really a lot of home inspections that we have to deal with. Well, in us buying homes for our buyers, none of them are inspected. None have been inspected. Now, in my opinion, when you talk about real estate malpractice, this is what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't a listing agent inspect their home? We inspected 67 houses, 65 of them waived their home inspections. We did not have a home inspection on 65. Let me tell you why that's important. First of all, a contract negotiation will take 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. But a home inspection contingency release can go on for 7, 8 days. Now, the longer these go on, the more the focus leaves, hey, I'm going to buy my home to move up for my family. The focus turns to the other party is trying to cheat me. So the focus is they're battling now. Forget about the house or the cost or the money. It is now one person trying to fight with the other person over trying to cheat. So the worst thing about the spring of 2025, in my opinion, is all the home inspections. Nightmare. 7 days. Ruin vacations. Will definitely ruin. You want to go to a baseball game and there's a home inspection going on, forget about it. You are tied to that phone. Now, in that negotiation, a buyer will threaten to leave at least 3 times. You know why? Because they can. A seller will threaten to tell him to go pound sand at least 3 times. So the deal has fallen apart 3, if not 4 times, because the focus is no longer on the property and trying to get things done. It's on the pettiness of the competing parties. So please get home inspections on your listings. It makes life easy. Our houses, and let me give you an example. Let me give you a perfect example when you talk about how you prevent real estate malpractice. So all of our homes have a home inspection, which means when you buy one of our homes, it's non-contingent. It's not contingent on a home inspection. It's not contingent on financing. It's not contingent on an appraisal. Twice, we had clients that were buying one of our houses non-contingent. They had a home to sell. They tried to delay or stall settlement. They tried to push it off 3 or 4 weeks. No. We have $50,000 deposit. I've got something from Intercoastal Mortgage that says that it's not contingent on the sale of that house. You can buy it without it. I've got it clear to close. We'll see on settlement at Tuesday. The agents will get upset. Oh, how can you not help us? Not my job to help people. I don't want my sellers paying 4 weeks of mortgage payments that they aren't obligated to pay. So now this happened twice, and one of them is settling, I think, this morning. And it's real simple. The answer is no. We have $50,000 or $100,000 in escrow. Your clients have said it's non-contingent. If you're not there, it's a default. We'll see you at settlement on that time. So as markets get a little crazy, and I'm going to show you how crazy the market's getting in a minute. But as the markets get crazy and people can't sell homes that they're moving into, they start to panic and they try and get out. If they have a home inspection, they can get out. If they have buyer remorse, they can get out. If they have financing contingency, they can get out. Because sometimes they'll just blow out the financing contingency and walk away from the transaction. There's not a lot you can do about it. So that's why it's critical that when we have a contract and we settle on a deal, that deal is final. And it has a big deposit and it has consequences. So if you were not to go through with the settlement on one of our houses, you lose the deposit, but that's not the end of what you're going to lose. If we were to sell a $2 million house for $1.8 million, you would be responsible for the balance of that $200,000. So people will go to settlement because they have to. And if you're a good agent and you're a good realtor, like I tell our clients, our agents here at Samson, if you price it right and do your predictive analysis and you get your enough contracts and you've done a home inspection, properly prepared the house, now you have that beautiful non-contingent contract. Now, let me tell you, when the tariffs started and the stock market crashed, I would say 30% of the homes were kicking out of their contracts. If you could kick out, you did kick out. Interest rates going up, stock market going down, dogs and cats living together. It was crazy. So the uncertainty caused people to try and get out of their contracts. Yeah, we didn't worry about any of them. All ours went through, all of ours went to settlement. And I'm just saying that I truly believe that if you haven't done it right, if you haven't followed the protocols, if you don't have that thing non-contingent, done your homework, done your home inspection, you are in deep trouble, okay? So, let's talk about something for a second. I'm old. I'm old. And you dance with what brung you when you're old. But I try. I try every year to put the old Casey Samson team out of business with new techniques, new technology, new protocols, making sure that this year is better than last year. Casey Samson Team 2025 would murder Casey Samson Team 2024 and forget about the 2022 team. This one would kill them. But there are lines that I draw. There's new technologies, right? There's AI. Now, in my world, AI means authenticated intelligence. So our job in seeing a home, fixing a home, pricing a home, marketing a home, negotiating contracts, that is AI, authenticated intelligence. Now, artificial intelligence, yes. Is there a place for it in marketing? Absolutely. Is there a place for it in preparing remarks and things in the MLS? Sure. Julie swears by it. Julie swears by it. She has a different job than I have. I'm a realtor. I'm negotiating contracts. I'm setting up houses. Let me give you an example. Yesterday we walked into a listing, and in a very nice manicured neighborhoods, and they were beautiful, pictures of the houses. The home that we were going to see, you could not see the house. The trees were overgrown. They weren't limbed. The seller was, and I'm just going to share this with you. Seller is what do you call it? Like an architect for landscape architect. So they were wildflowers. They were great, whatever it was. But it looked so overgrown that you couldn't even see the house. Couldn't see the house. So a bunch of realtors went in, they decided to work with us. And Kelly and I went in and said, we've got to fix it. This is what your neighbor looks like. This is what the good house looks like. This is what we look like. This has got to be done. And it was funny. She said, God, you guys are like stormtroopers. And I'm like, well, maybe we are. But if your house looks like this, then nobody's coming. I held a picture of what the thing, nobody's going to come to see your house. So I'm not saying we have to be stormtroopers, but we need to be realistic, right? We need to be extremely realistic. I mean, let me show you a stat here. Okay. These are 2025 sales over $1.5 million. So these are how many homes over 1.5 million have we sold this year? So by July 1, what we have sold and pending, it'll be $75 million under contract. Only 2 houses did not sell. 2 out of all those houses didn't sell, and that's because the sellers broke protocol, would not price it where we told them to, and the houses failed. But of the ones that did, 75 million. Now, just to put this in perspective, right? In Aldi, all of Aldi only has $39 million worth of homes that sold over 1.5. Oakton had 30. So 4 people on my team sold 75 million, which is all of Oakton combined. Every home in Oakton that's over 1.5 million combined is $30 million. Prince William County, $28 million. So in all of Prince William County, $28 million sold over 1.5 million, and we had 75 million. So, when somebody's telling me something, they're going to give me advice, whether it's on AI or techniques or how we sell or how you do this or how you do that. And I'm authenticating them and their track record as they're talking. In other words, you tell me to do something, how many deals do you do a year? And what's your success rate? And what are your days on market? And let me see. If you're really good, like Carolyn Young, I'll listen to Carolyn Young. She's really sharp. There are some agents you listen to, and then some agents I'm looking at and going, I just can't authenticate that you're doing enough business to make that, worth it. So I have to authenticate our track record all the time. Are we doing this right? Are our protocols in line? Are we having failures? Are we having breakdowns? And it's like, it seems like everything's going pretty well, and then you look at something like that, and last year I think we were at 20 million, and this year it's 75. So whatever protocols we talk about on Coffee with Casey, in my hometown in Vienna, where we do a lot of business, we did 31.5 million so far in the first half. All Keller Williams agents combined did 18. All Long and Foster agents combined in Vienna over 1.5 million did 13.6 million. So it's almost 2 to 3 times. I mean, look at how many Weichert did, and McInerney did, and Redfin did. So the stuff that I go through on Coffee with Casey is the 31.5 has a track record or authenticated track record to show, why these are the things that we have to do, why these are the most important things. And I talked a little bit about this last week. I want to go over it real quick, the 6 guardrails that you need. And again, real estate malpractice, if you don't do these, if you don't have these guardrails in place, and I'm not talking about 4 out of 6 or 5 out of 6. If you don't have 6 out of 6 guardrails, I'm going to whip ahead for a minute. Let me show you something. This is Oakton. Person came in, $1.8 million house. Let me take a look at your market. Okay. You have 2 coming soons. You have about, 15, 16 actives. You have a couple A/C is active with a contract. You got a couple of those. TO means I pulled off the market because I couldn't sell it. Canceled means I just canceled the listing. We have one pending transaction. So this is 21 transactions. We have 1 transaction that is closed. They were pending and now they're closed. Let me show you what that transaction looked like. So just so we're clear, Those are all failures. Every time a realtor walked in and said, this is how we're going to sell this house, they failed to sell it. Days on market, 21, 43, 92, 29, 33, 29, 28, 16, 21, 29, 62, 28, 36, 341, 11, and 29. This is what I would call all failures. A/C, you sold the house with a contingency, failure. Why? Because now you have to go through the 7-day process of a home inspection. Or the person that bought it has a house to sell, and again, as we've just seen on 2 of my houses, their homes didn't sell. They try and back out of the contract, and they cannot. So 21 out of 21, if I counted it correctly. And the one that did finally close and went under contract, here it is. If you look down at the very bottom, it says new active 11/14/24. In November of last year, they went off at $2.1 million. December, they dropped to $2 million. In January, they dropped to $1.9 million. In February, they dropped to $1.9 million, came back on. Oh, let me see something. Yeah, they switched realtors because it's the realtor's fault. So then they came back on new active in February of this year, 1.89, then moved to 1.75, and finally sold it for 1.65. So you have talk about malpractice. The home was put on the market at $2.1 million. It's worth $1.65 million. So when we talk about this malpractice of what's going on, this is a look at what today's market is. If you are not smart and you're not following the guardrails, this is what you do. You go off the cliff. Now, consider any one of these houses. This seller fixed the house up, did everything he could, staged it, painted, did everything he could to get the house ready, and it's sitting on the market for 65 days. Now, they have to sell the house, and they can't do it. And this is the market that is between $1.5 and $2 million, or over $1.5 million in Oakton. Remember I said that we had sold like $75 million worth of stuff over $1.5 million? That's the $1.5 million market in Oakton. So it's not that they don't have the houses. They have the listings. They're just not selling the listings. They're just sitting there. And again, this is why we go on Coffee with Casey. We talk about the guardrails. And I'm going to go over it really one more time. I'm going to go over it quick. If you don't prepare a home, you're out. We do not have 4 people in this market that are coming in with contracts. You don't have 6 people. You have 2 interested parties. If you're lucky, sometimes it's only 1. If that home is not prepped right, they're going to walk away too. You got 0. And then you know what you have? 62 days on the market. So when Kelly and I or Morgan or Colby or Billy and we'll walk in, we're not trying to be the friends of a seller. I don't want them to love me at the listing appointment. I want them to love me at settlement. I'm going to settlement at 1 o'clock on a $2.25 million home that, should they not have done everything that we asked them to and price where we asked them to price it, we're not going to settlement. It would last for a long, long time. And they would lose $200,000 to $250,000. So realtors need to take it very serious when you go in to prep a house. It's got to have current colors. It's got to have current hardware. It's got to have fixed. If you see, we go in and say, what could keep this house from selling, right? Well, if you can't see the house for all the shrubbery and the overgrown and the trees, I can't even see the house. Well, that's your problem. And it's not an option. I mean, it's not an option. You've got to get it fixed. You have to be hard enough and tough enough and professional enough and focused enough to prepare the home for all the buyers, because you're only going to get 2. Just think of it that way. We're only going to get 2 people that are really serious, that this would be the perfect house for them. But if they are looking online and they see mustard walls, they're not coming. Because let me tell you what that tells them. Dated. They're not coming. So we aren't looking at 30 people walking in. We're looking at 5 people walking in or 6 people walking in, and maybe only 2 would be potential real solid buyers, perfect fit. So You can't afford any of this. You cannot afford not to be tough. Now, I get it. Some realtors may only have one listing every other month, and they don't have a lot of opportunities. So they're kind of at the whim of the seller. If the seller says, I'm not going to do it, then you're done. You're sunk. And there's not much some of the realtors can do about it. But I will tell you, if you take the stance that you have to do what's right, there's what's right and what's wrong, and we have to do what's right, and then we'll be a success. And you stick to that. And then you finally get one, and it sells, success, tell the neighbors, get another one, tell that. And you've got to have the protocol of that screen. You've got to walk in, and if their landscape doesn't look right, and they are a landscape architect, you got to tell them. The ugliest house I was ever in, the worst house I was ever in, was an interior designer's.
Wow.
She was a professional interior designer. Nobody's going to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You know how you take the computer and you push it down and you go, I gotta go. I gotta go. So there are people in their profession, they can't see the forest for the trees because, this is a very important plant to them. All I see, when I showed them the beautiful homes, they said that's boring. No, that's saleable.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get people in this house. I can be the best negotiator in the world, but if I have nobody to negotiate with, partner, we're done. So we need to get people in that house. The walls have to be painted. And you know what? To be honest with you, I'll give you a secret. So we'll walk into a house, and the seller will say something like, I'm not going to paint. And I'm like, yeah, it's really a pain in the ass. Yeah. And I'm going to agree. I'm absolutely 100%. Yeah, I don't want to paint. You don't want to paint. But you know who really doesn't want to paint? The buyer doesn't want to paint. So the first thing always, you can't help somebody drive a car unless you're in the car with them. You can't help somebody steer the car unless I'm in the car. So I get in the car. I agree. Yeah, it's pain. But if we could spend $6,000 and make $60,000, that's a pretty good deal. And if we don't, we're really not going to have anybody in here to negotiate with, because everybody's going to see this based on our marketing online first. And they're either going to go like this and say, next, or they're going to go, that looks good. Now, no AI in America is going to tell you how to prepare that house. That's a realtor's job. That is a realtor's job. So this is what I'm fighting, I'm battling between authenticated intelligence and artificial intelligence. There's a use for both, but man, if you're not a realtor and you're not doing this job, then you have flipped the guardrails, you're off the edge, and you're going right down the canyon. And all your time, energy, and money. Of course, when it doesn't sell, what are they going to do? They're going to look at you and go, why is it not selling? Right? So we can either, I guess, be a stormtrooper now. I try and be a nice stormtrooper, but you have to tell people what they need to hear. And again, my technique is always, I don't want to paint this damn house. And Morgan is sitting next to me and she's going, oh, we're painting this house. And I'm like, I'm looking at the seller going, dude, I don't want to paint this house. And she's like, there's no way we're not painting this house. And to be honest with you, to their credit, Kelly, Colby, Morgan, they don't budge. There's a right way and a wrong way. And if that wall is yellow and you just painted it, it's getting repainted. So I kind of lean over and I look at the seller and I say, whatever Morgan says to do, just do it. I want to make money. You want to make money. Just do it. That's their job. They're professionals. And when you show them that's Morgan, that's Colby, that's Kelly, that's Billy. That's $75 million. You have 4 people that have sold more homes. Now, yes, I set the protocol. I did I price it and all that stuff. But I'm telling you, it's those 4 that walk in and go, this is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to prepare the house. And without them, then I'm down with the 20s or the 10s or the 15s. But those people refuse to let a house go off at a substandard level, and they're just good at it, you know? And that's why in Vienna, I mean, for God's sakes, think about that for a second. Just think about this. And again, right way and the wrong way, they're going to prepare the house so it sells. Now, they have more success than all Keller Williams agents combined. And I mean, there's like 5 offices. There's a ton of Keller Williams. Now, think about a ton of these agents, and they all have friends, right? They have friends and family, and they're going to list house with them. So their sphere of influence is so much bigger than the 4 agents that I have, and yet they're doing twice the business that their whole office is doing. Long & Foster, most established company around, did $13.6 million worth of business in our market, and Morgan, Colby, Kelly, and Billy did 31.5. So, you know, when I say these guardrails, they take this serious. This is them. This is young people. This is the buyers. This is people that just will not, you know, they just know what's right, and they don't care whether a person listens or not. They're just going to tell them what they need to do. And so guardrail number 1, we really can't overlook that. And guardrail number 2 is, you know, we were sitting in a meeting the other day of the masterminds, and an agent says, you know, they were talking about some of their deals. Like, I got a condo is not selling. And Donnie looked over, who runs our company, said, did you do a predictive analysis? Did you do coming soon? She said, oh yeah, I did. She said, we only had one showing coming in prior to launch. And I was like, I got to get out of here, because the reason for predictive analysis is to tell you, do I have people coming in the house? I mean, if you have one person coming, you don't launch the listing. You got to drop the price. So in this case, this is a perfect example. I said the house is worth $1.9 million. That's what my model says. That's what I think it's going to sell for. We put on a coming soon price at 1.85 because that's where the buyer pool is. We have one showing scheduled, similar to what the girl said that had the condo. We have one showing scheduled. So I have to go to the seller that I said it's worth 1.9 million and say, we're not doing 1.9, we got to do 1.8. We can't do 1.85. There's nobody there. Nobody's coming. So you go to 1.799. There's a bidding war. Then you get a lot of people in. It ends at $2 million. Now, we had a couple contracts at about 1.875, 1.885. But the winner was $2 million because of the contract negotiation is, you can't bring me an escalation clause. You got to do it highest and best offers, right? So this person, our marketing strategy is get people from outside the area. This person was coming in from Rhode Island, looking in McLean. Our social media grabbed them, brought them to this house, and to them, they're looking at that house in McLean at $2.25 million. So why not pay $2 million for it? So they gave us $2 million, $125,000 over the next highest offer. Now, where's Justin? Can I say balls? Can I say it takes a lot of balls?
Yes, you can.
I can do that?
Yes, you can.
I mean, it takes some kahunas, man. You got every Wednesday and Thursday, I've got to sit down with people that, especially in a declining market like we're in right now, and I got to say, look, man, 185 is not cutting it. But you said 1.9. I know. We got to go to 1.8. We do this all the time. I mean, this is not I could put up 40 of these screens that are similar things, but you've got to have the discipline to do that. You've got to have the discipline to say, sorry, man, we got to go to 1.79. I know you hate me, but you're going to love me at settlement. They get $2 million. Not only do they get $2 million, but it's settled in like 3 weeks. They can rent back for free as long as they want, or for 60 days or whatever. And no home inspection, no financing, no nothing. It was all cash. See, that gives me the strength to today go tell a seller, hey man, we're not at the right number. We got to move back, right? So let me give you a phenomenon that happened last week or two weeks ago. People always say, how's the market? It's like, I'll let you know on Tuesday after I see what happens, because things change. We launched 5 listings. 2.25, 2 million, 1.15, 1 million, and a 950, right? So the ones at risk are really the 2 millions. I mean, that area is very thin up there. There's not a lot of buyers up there, but I mean, you could shake a tree and get buyers for 1.15 and 1 and 950. It's like, Jesus, there's tons of them. These 2 went under contract. The 2 big ones went under contract with multiple contracts over list price.
Wow.
The 3 smaller ones, no contracts. And I had tons of people coming in to see them. I had 20 each. So we had 20 people walking in. And so my point is that if I do 75 million, then I pretty much have these markets locked down. But even we're surprised by every week what is the market. You do your predictive analysis, you get them all in the house, and the only thing you can do is get them in the house and it's well prepared, but no contracts come in. And it's the weirdest thing of all time. So let me talk about phase 2. We need to go to phase 2. Now, we haven't had to go to phase 2 for a long time, but this is phase 2. What if a house doesn't sell? What if we get in a situation where, and every house is different, but I can walk 25, 30 people in a house and nobody writes a contract? Now what the hell are we going to do? Well, first thing we're going to do is not panic. Don't panic. Just relax. Because nobody wanted to get in a bidding war. So you have strength in the house. You know the house is a good house. You know that it's worth it. You know that it's priced correctly. You know that it's staged right. Just relax. Don't panic. Don't chase. Don't chase people. So we'll go around and we'll say, hey, everybody, good news. Good opportunity for you. This is a well-priced house, well-scored. Everything's great. Didn't get the contract we wanted in this weekend. It's a great opportunity for your buyers to not have to overpay for a house. Here comes a contract. Now what comes next? Another contract. Before you know it, it's a bidding war going on, right? Now we got another little mini bidding war going on. So just because it doesn't go in the first wave, which is critical, doesn't mean you can't go back to that wave in a week or 2 and try and start up a bidding war after they know this is an opportunity that something didn't sell. Okay? So yes, that one went under contract and they're all happy, no contingencies, no nothing. The next one, the $1 million one, there was a lot of criticism because it didn't have a garage, didn't have this, blah, blah, blah. So highest contract is $950. Seller, it was $1 million. I don't want to go with $950. Maybe I'll rent it. Okay. So now we really need to analyze, and again, can't help steer the car unless you're in the car with them, right? Say, that's one of our options. So let's take a look at that. Let's look at that option. We could put it on, you can rent it, you can do this, you can do that. However, and again, the number one word that I have is concerns. Here are my concerns. Once you rent a property, the value goes down 5% just because it's now a rental, it's not an owner-occupant. When you go to sell, you got to fix it up all over again. When you're holding a 1985 house, you have roofs, heaters, plumbing, floods. You have all things that could go wrong. You're going to be in California and you're going to try and manage a house out here. They're going to take 30% off the top to manage that house. So the economics don't work. Now, also, my last concern with renting a property is, if it doesn't sell, is since 2020, the value line that a value of a house based on appreciation, based on inflation is here. The price is up here. So the price is 20% higher than the property should be. Now, historically, they meet, which means that this one has to come back down. So if you don't like 950, you're going to hate 800. You're just going to hate it. Because according to inflation, it really should be around the 800 range, not 950 or 975. So we have to work with a seller to make sure that we don't make mistakes. The market has dealt us a hand. We got to play that hand. The 950 dropped at 899. Now they have contracts coming in. So we need to go to Plan B. Now, we haven't had to use Plan B for a long time, but who would have thought that the 2 biggies go without a problem, 100,000 over list price, and And the small ones were great, I thought. I thought they were all great and they were all priced right. But the market just wasn't there. So every week, no matter how much business we do, we have to do a predictive analysis. And that's not a guarantee, but it's pretty damn solid that it puts us in the buyer pool that we need to be at. At least it tells us if we're not in the right buyer pool. The last one is home inspection. You know what, Justin? We got to have something with Donnie. We got to put out to Samson agents. You have to do home inspections.
Yes, I agree.
It is the worst nightmare of all time. If you don't, so we'll sell, let's say I think 20, I think we sold I said 30, but I think the listings, the big listings, probably about 20, 25. No problems. Sign contract, see it settlement. Don't hear a peep. But buying houses, we're having to buy a $3 million house or buy a $2.8 million house. You go through the home inspection, there's fights, there's arguments, there's I'm going to quit, you're going to quit. And if I was, I reminded the selling agent, it's like, look, man, if you go back on the market and you failed your home inspection, you're screwed. I mean, you are done. There's $250,000 or at least 8% of the value of your home is going to go poof. So, but again, as this goes on, we lose focus of buying the house, and the focus goes to those people are trying to rip me off. So now it's personal. Now, I don't want the house anymore. You could screw yourself. Their focus is on fighting each other, not trying to buy the house and get everything fixed correctly. They all think the other one is negotiating in bad faith. So why Samson Properties doesn't promote, let's get home inspections. Everybody get a great home inspector. Inspect for 6 things: moisture, foundation, electric, heating, cooling, plumbing, roof. And when a person walks in their house, here's a 100-page report that this house is in good shape. Now I got 4 contracts, remove that home inspection. They'll all do it. You know why? The realtor doesn't want to go through the 7-day hassle. They don't want the deal to fall apart. They don't want to sit around for a 4-hour home inspection. The realtor actually doesn't want to. I think one of the keys to our success is if a realtor is the winning bid on one of our homes, it's over. I'll see you at settlement. I'll see you at settlement. We don't have to go through the 7-day nightmare. So I think of all the guardrails that we have, the home inspection is probably number 1. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's a 7-day with a 40% chance of a kickout. Of a nightmare. It ruined an entire vacation in Williamsburg. It ruined London's first baseball game at the Nats Stadium. It ruined everything. I'm out. I'm walking away. Screw all this stuff. At least 3 or 4 times. I'm going to go talk to Donnie. You can hear old people talk and say, there's a bunch of bullshit. It's not a bunch of bullshit. We need, as Samson Properties, needs to really say, we're going to really push getting a home inspection on your house. Not just some old geezer telling about it. I'm telling you that is without a doubt one of the guardrails that you need. So the marketing guardrail is pretty simple. If you've done everything else correct, this is where AI will kick in, right? Not where the parts that we do as realtors. But yes, when it comes to handing it off to the marketing department, are they going to find somebody looking for a McLean home in this price range and show them our stuff? Yeah. Key to our success. Been doing that for a long time, right? So to get into AI for that part of the show, yes, it's very important because just like the guy that brought in that $2 million contract, he's looking at McLean. He don't even know where Vienna is. We had to tell him where Vienna was. So, in fact, see that White House right there? The White House you're looking at on the screen was $1.6 million. We were in the middle of our predictive analysis. It had been seen 14,000 times online, 25 likes and loves and all that crap. So anyways, I get a call from a guy. He's in New York. He's in a penthouse. he was in the John, by the way, in a penthouse in New York, and he goes, "Hey man, where's Vienna?" And I said, "Well, we're in Northern Virginia." He goes, No. Is it around McLean anywhere? It's like, we're right next door. He goes, "I've been looking for that house for a long time. I'll be right down." I said, "Well, finish what you got first, then come on down." So he comes down next day, $1.6 million, all cash. I was this close. Nobody in Vienna wanted this house. Nobody. I was this close, not just to going to 1.55, but going all the way to 1.5, because that's the big buyer pool. And I'm like, I'm this close to pulling that trigger, and I get that call from a guy in New York. So is AI important? Yes. Is the marketing important? Yes. Do you have to go outside of your market area? So these homes, let me go over here. These homes in Oakton, yeah, their buyers are not looking in Oakton right now. All these people, all these homes, the buyers for those homes are not looking in Oakton. These are 2.3, 2.4, 2.2, 2.3. Do you think they're looking in Oakton for a $2.3 million house? Where do you think they're looking at? McLean. You know where the $3 million houses are. They don't want to live in, they're looking in McLean where the 2.3s are, right? Or even in Vienna. But they're not looking in Oakton. So you've got to take that house and introduce it to those buyers at that buyer pool using AI and some of our marketing stuff that we use. All right, so the final guardrail that we went over was the contracts and the contract negotiations. And again, here's where we gotta have big kahunas again, because every buyer agent, this is what started it with me and Jason. This was a battle royale. It was nice. We don't accept escalation clauses, and they were trying to force an escalation clause down our throats. And, when there's multiple contracts, that's not a good thing to do. I always tell agents that if you're going after a home and your buyers really want it, and a listing agent is going to set rules, then just play by those rules. Because if there's multiple contracts, they will definitely kick your contract out and take the other contract. If I have two contracts, one's playing by the rules. So let me give you an example. $2 million house. One's at 1.985 and the other's at 1.99. One has an escalation clause and the other does not. Well, that's what we said, no escalation clause. So his escalation clause will make his house worth $2 million. So we will go to the contract number 2, full disclosure, go to contract number 2 and say, "Hey man, you get rid of the home inspection and you go to 2.2 and I'll take your contract." Here's my reasoning. Because if you're going to be difficult in a contract negotiation, what are you going to be like as this thing goes on? How about the walkthrough? How about we're going to have an inspection. The contract says I can have an inspector walk in this house and he's going to find some undisclosed issues. Do I want that? Yeah, I'm not looking for trouble. Nobody's looking for trouble. So when we do contract negotiations, and again, for my sellers, we don't allow escalation. That's why some contracts come in at 1.9 and the winning contract comes in at $2 million. And we see that every week. So that's why I do it, right? So the winning contract is always $50,000 to $100,000 more than the next closest item. So that's just the protocol. So if we're the buyer, if that's what the selling agent is saying, then just do what the selling agent is asking for. Play by their rules, because they're going to decide who they want to work with. But I will tell you this, and we use it all the time. We'll come in with buyers and go, "Hey, is there an escalation clause?" "Oh, sure." "Oh, yeah, sure. Sure. Really? Okay." Perfect for the buyers. You just cost your sellers $100,000, in my opinion. So again, we fight all the time, me and other agents at the masterminds, over should you or should you not have an escalation clause. If you're a buyer, hell yeah, I'm going to have an escalation clause. But if you're a seller, if you got kahunas, don't take them, because it's going to make your clients another $100,000. No banks. Saw it again this week. No banks or federal, what do you call them? Credit unions. No. The reason for that is they have, perfect example. God dang it. our buyer had JP Morgan. That was their private banker, so they were going to get a JP Morgan loan. The JP Morgan a bank has to have two appraisals. So one appraisal comes in at the listing price, one comes in 100,000 less. They got to use the 100,000 less.
Wow.
Now they're going to tell our buyer, the appraiser's from Frederick, Maryland. It's going to tell our buyer that a home in Great Falls, Virginia is 2.35 and not 2.45. Here we go again, right? We got a whole new fight going on. I'm not going to buy this house for 1 penny more than the appraiser says it's worth. I'm not taking 1 penny less than we agreed to in our contract price. He's putting up $800,000. What do I give a shit what JP Morgan says? But you see, the banks have a different appraisal system than we have. The federal credit unions have a different than correspondent lenders. And that makes another layer of complication into a transaction. So let me defend the realtors for a second. A realtor says, well, they're just writing a contract. Why do they get 2.5 points? Real estate transaction is the most complicated transaction you're ever going to get into in your life. There are so many things that can go wrong. There are appraisals, there are home inspections, there are problems, there's contract negotiations, there's financing, there's this, there's lenders. And then you present a contract and lose to 3 other contracts. Now I got to start all over again with the search. And now I got to go look somewhere else. So buyers and sellers are under the illusion that well, you're just writing a contract. You're just writing a contract. You really need to make that much money for writing a contract? It's not writing a contract. It's negotiating. It's weeks. It's at least 4 separate negotiations as we go along, and they get tougher and tougher because there's more pressure as we go along. And then, after all that work is done, after all of that is done, the buyer goes, I'm out. I'm not buying shit from that seller. I'm out. And they walk away, and you get nothing for hours and hours and ruined vacations and ruined ball games and ruin this and ruin that. Let me tell you something. I can't go out to have a drink with my daughter. I can't go out and Colby. I can't go out and have dinner without them on their phone the whole time. I'm like, hey man, can you put the goddamn computers down for a minute? Can we have a cocktail? Can we just talk for a second? Yeah, as soon as I get this done. So it's not a listing appointment. The guy goes, yeah, we're going to sell this. We're going to buy something else. Is there any discount? And there is not 1 cent of discount. It's the hardest money anybody's ever got to make in my life. And when they want to cut a realtor's commission down, it is up to us as listing agents to let them know that the selling agents really, how much they have to go through. It's not writing a contract. It's so complicated. And by the way, go ahead, cut his commission. That contract will leave so fast your head will spin. See? This house sucks. Let's get out of here. Let's go find another house. I'm going to end with this. In August of last year, they changed the commissions. They sued the NVAR so that the buyers felt that the buyers were being taken advantage of, sellers were being taken advantage of. We're going to sue the NVAR. We're going to change all the commission rules. And the media got behind it, and I had arguments with the Wall Street Journal over this. It's like, this is just ridiculous. So here's what happened. In August, they split the commissions. The listing agent is going to get their commission, and the selling agent is going to request a commission from the seller for their commission. And the Wall Street Journal lady says, the reporter says, well, no, the buyers are going to pay their commission to the agents so they can negotiate on their behalf and they'll represent them. It's like, do you own a house? Have you bought a house? Do you know it requires like $150,000 of down payment money? And then you got to pay for movers, and then you got to pay to fix up the house, and then you're going to need a new kitchen. You're going to spend all this. Your closing costs alone are $27,000, and you want to put another $30,000 on top of that? That's not what's going to happen. It's going to happen what happened our whole career. The seller is going to pay both sides of the commissions, and that's the way it's going to be. Only now, the selling agent is going to request a commission from the seller. So is he really going to be negotiating in the best interest of the buyer or the seller? Because, the seller's going to pay him. So isn't he trying to bring in the highest contract possible, not the lowest? Is he really negotiating on the best interest of the buyer? They're really not. In fact, I hear some of them will ask me, what's it going to take price-wise for me to get a 3% commission? How much do I got to bring this in at? Come on. So it is called unintended consequences. And once again, the government or whoever is trying to protect the buyer. And what do? They screw the buyer. Unintended consequences. Now, we're 2 months away from them saying, it's the 1-year anniversary. How's everything going? If the Wall Street Journal calls me, I'm going to say you're culpable. Because you guys got behind this and you were giving all this press, the big bad realtors and all the commissions. And really what you did was you screwed the buyers. And that's from a guy we've already put in, I guess, I don't know what month it is. June yet? Got 117 million in the can. We do all these contracts. I'm just telling you, it is not in the best interest of the buyers to do it this way. So when they ask me from the Wall Street Journal, well, are the buyers making a lot of money? Are they getting better deals? The buyers are getting screwed, period. Quote me on that. Unintended consequences. Way to go, guys. Way to go, attorneys. Way to go, press. Doing your job. My name is Casey Samson. You've been listening to Coffee with Casey. We come to you every Thursday, or try to. I try to, man. I'm telling you. But you get a little busy, and then it's like, oh my God, is it Friday? Did I do Coffee with Casey yesterday? So anyways, I have to work with my computer open sometimes too during dinner. But anyways, you've been listening with Coffee with Casey. We try and give you the right advice. And as I said, this is not, this is authenticated advice. If you want to not lose $100,000, $150,000, $200,000, or more importantly, if let's say you're in the $500,000 to $600,000 range, $50,000 is so much more important to a person in that price range than it is to a person at the $2 million range. It's very important. You follow the protocols, you stay in your guardrails, and everybody gets through, and everybody's happy. To the realtors out there, do a home inspection on your listings, and then we'll make it easy on everybody. And I'm walking right out this door. If Donnie's in there, I'm going to tell him we need to do something about it. Because, now that we're taking sellers and moving them up, we're running into all of these houses without home inspections. And we have to do it. Yeah. And right? Every one of them. Oh my God. Oh, $30,000. I want $30,000 or I'm out of here, and tell the seller to go screw themselves. It's not worth it, guys. Let's all get home inspections. Let's do a better job. We'll see you again next week. If you're looking for me, I'm at 703-508-2535 or Casey at CaseySamson.com. You can follow the market update and all the inventory, how the markets are reacting at CaseySamson.com. We'll see you again next week. Yay. Bye now.